Streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, the Uvalde victims are going after 2 mail carriers for their role in the Robb Elementary massacre.
We continue with presidential campaign coverage, abortion rights taking center stage.
And the food bank of the Golden Crescent is getting a massive donation. That number this evening.
If you run out there quick, you might actually see a thunder shower and maybe get a little bit of a cooling trend. Other than that, it's going to be sunny and hot, but we have a chance for showers for tomorrow and the next day. We'll be talking about that coming up.
And the Celtics now with a commanding 2-0 lead on the Mavs. I'll have that coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia. Victoria police arrested a 22-year-old man Friday. That's Eric Galileos of Victoria, facing 2 charges, including assault of a family member with a previous conviction. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $55,000 bond.
Victoria police arrested a 45-year-old man Monday. Armando Cervantes of Victoria faces 3 charges, including assault of a family member with a previous conviction and stalking. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $40,350 bond. FEMA is running out of money.
And NOAA reports the U.S. has already been hit with 11 extreme disasters so far this year. Combined, those costs add up to a price tag of more than $25 billion. That means FEMA could slip into the red by the end of summer, which forecasters say will bring even more destructive storms, tornadoes, and hurricanes. The agency reportedly could have a shortfall of more than $1.3 billion in August.
Uvalde shooting survivors' families are suing UPS and FedEx for shipping the weapon used by the gunman in the Robb Elementary School massacre. The Texas Tribune reports the lawsuit claims the company shipped an enhanced trigger system that allowed the gunman to convert a firearm into a fully automatic or semi-automatic weapon. The gunman used that weapon to murder 19 children and 2 teachers. The family said the shipping companies are responsible for the trauma and distress caused to the survivors of the massacre. U.S. attorneys launched Operation Texas Kill Switch today. It's an effort to crack down and raise awareness on the manufacture of a switch that can turn any firearm into a machine gun. The machine gun conversion devices, MCDs or switches, can easily be made with a 3D printer.
And one U.S. attorney says that's why authorities are seeing a dramatic increase in the number of switches on the streets. ATF agents seized nearly 1,000 of the machine gun conversion devices from 2017 to 2023, with about half of those seized just last year. Under federal law, an MCD by itself is classified as a machine gun.
Switches are cheap and can be manufactured in a few hours at home or anywhere one can plug in a 3D printer. Installation of a switch into a firearm takes less than 60 seconds.
Diggs says his office is laser focused on prosecution in these cases, and he wants the public to be alert. Simply possessing a machine gun conversion switch carries a penalty of up to 10 years in prison.
This picture of a funnel cloud was shot by a DPS trooper in Calhoun County just after 11 this morning. Jackson County officials reported a funnel cloud in Calhoun County at about that time. It was reportedly moving toward Palacios. Authorities saw no damage to buildings in the Calhoun County area, and that is good news.
And with that, let's toss it over to our first Warren Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis with the latest on the weather front.
Well, thank you very much. You might have noticed that the atmosphere is very different. Last week it was flat, all right, and hot. Now this today we got enough lifting to produce a couple of thunderstorms. You can see the activity that's right about Victoria, but it's really more likely through Goliad, where they're getting some rain showers. Cuero got some nice rain today. We like rain. We like little shower activity here and there, you know, as long as there's no severe weather. We have that possibility for a couple more days. And coming up, we'll be taking a look at the tropics and the Gulf of Mexico. All that coming up in just a moment.
Mac, thank you. Jurors started deliberating whether Hunter Biden is guilty of federal firearms charges. President Biden's son faces 3 felony charges stemming from the purchase of a revolver in 2018. Prosecutors say Hunter Biden lied on a gun purchase form by saying he was not illegally using or addicted to drugs. Defense lawyers argue prosecutors failed to prove Hunter Biden was using drugs in the 11 days he owned the gun. Former President Trump speaking to a conservative Christian group that calls abortion, quote, the greatest atrocity, unquote, facing our generation.
Trump also meeting with probation officers more than a week after being found guilty in his felony hush money trial.
Today, former President Trump speaking to the Danbury Institute, a conservative Christian group that compares abortion to child sacrifice.
We have to defend religious liberty, free speech, innocent life, and the heritage and tradition that built America into the greatest nation in the history of the world.
A spokeswoman for the Biden-Harris campaign says if you want to know who Trump will fight for in a second term, look at who he's spending his time speaking to. Biden's campaign continuously ties Trump to the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
The former President Donald Trump handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended.
Trump has been criticized for not being tough enough on abortion. In April, his former Vice President Mike Pence accused Trump of retreating on the right to life, calling it a slap in the face to voters.
Well, I think he needs these kind of voters, and he needs them to not lose faith in him. And his positions on abortion have shifted very considerably.
Last week in the Senate, Republicans blocked a bill that would have protected access to contraceptives. Senate Republicans calling it a show vote.
This is not a show vote. It's a show us who you are vote.
Trump's appearance at the Danbury Institute comes as he meets with probation officers in his felony hush money trial. The former president using his legal troubles to whip up support from his base.
Then I got indicted again and again and again. I was never indicted. In a period of this little tiny period of time, I was like a ping pong ball.
That probation meeting today will help inform the judge in New York when it comes to deciding on the sentence for Trump. He will be sentenced on July 11th. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
And Donald Trump's mandatory pre-sentencing interview Monday ended after less than half an hour of routine and uneventful questions and answers. Trump was quizzed by a New York City probation officer for a report that will be compiled and presented to trial judge Juan Merchan. The report will be sent to the judge before Trump's July 11th sentencing in his hush money criminal case. Now, the food bank of the Golden Crescent is getting a big donation.
The food bank will get $500,000. The donation is part of a $20 million personal gift from HEB CEO Charles Butt. The gift is to the Feeding Texas Network. Food Bank of the Golden Crescent officials told us they will get the donation over the next few months and that they are pretty excited and grateful. The Food Bank of the Golden Crescent at 801 South Lawrence Street serves an 11-county area. The Victoria ISD is holding its regular monthly meeting right now. Board members are working to select a superintendent search firm. The meeting is at the Administration Building, 102 Prophet Drive.
So here is your viewer poll this evening. The question is, what should be the top priority for the new superintendent of Victoria ISD? According to our results, it looks like 58% takes the lead with improving academic performance, followed by 32% with increasing teacher salaries, 7% enhancing school safety, and 3% stands at expanding extracurricular programs. Thank you for voting. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update tonight on 25 News Now at 10. Now, starting Tuesday, Mockingbird Lane will be reduced to 1 lane in each direction between John Stockbauer Drive and Loop 463 for 3 days. The street will be resurfaced and all businesses and homes in that construction zone will remain accessible. The construction is part of the Mill and Overlay project.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today where?
On YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah. Stay with us. We follow a series of shark attacks across the U.S. That's coming up on 25 News Now at 6.
Also ahead, Microsoft and Google offering free cybersecurity for area hospitals. Those details next.
A combined COVID-19 and flu shot could be coming. Moderna says its combination vaccine showed positive late-stage trial results. The company says people who got the vaccine had an improved immune response compared with those who got the standalone flu and COVID-19 shots available now. Now, in terms of safety, Moderna says the combined vaccine was well tolerated. The study is not peer-reviewed yet. Moderna plans to present its data at an upcoming medical conference.
Microsoft and Google will offer free or discounted cybersecurity services to area hospitals across the U.S. It's a bid to make them less vulnerable to cyber attacks that have disrupted patient care and threatened lives. Microsoft says it will provide free security updates for eligible area hospitals and security assessments and training for hospital staff. The government says the number of ransomware attacks against the U.S. healthcare sector increased by a whopping 128% in 2023 compared to the year prior.
Most shark experts will tell you that attacks on humans are very rare, but many of those same experts point to rising ocean temperatures pushing sharks to hunt more.
And these sharks are hunting along coastal feeding grounds now full of summer vacation crowds. In recent days, 2 separate shark attacks off Florida shores injured multiple victims.
You need to get out. Terrifying moments in the waters off the Florida Panhandle. 2 separate shark attacks in Walton County Friday. The first victim, a 45-year-old woman near a sandbar with her husband.
She received significant trauma to the midsection and pelvic area, as well as amputation of her left lower arm.
About 90 minutes later and 4 miles away, 2 teenagers were attacked, also near a sandbar.
Victim 1 received significant injuries to 1 upper and 1 lower extremity.
The second teen had minor injuries to her right foot, said the fire chief.
This time of year is when sharks will move in shallower to feed. They're looking for prey along the beaches.
Damiana Humphrey was in shallow water in May off Galveston, Texas, when a shark bit her hand.
It was my body's reaction to it that probably saved me.
That reaction was to punch the shark in the face.
The face was the only thing that came up out of the water.
It let her go. Surgeons repaired several torn tendons in her hand and her recovery continues. Most shark experts point out time of day matters.
Don't go in the water at dusk or dawn because sharks are crepuscular hunters.
And that's when we went during dusk.
Don't go in the water with jewelry. Don't go in the water with plastic water bottles because that crunching sounds like fish bones. Stay away from river mouths or murky areas.
Bottom line, attacks are rare, but always remain cautious. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Here's a nugget of information for you. The world's largest Buc-ee's opened its doors in Luling today. The convenience store mecca has 120 gas pumps, but it's the massive 75,000 square foot size that clinched the record. That mark previously belonged to a Buc-ee's in a city in Tennessee, which clocked in at 74,000 square feet. Florida had planned to open a store in Ocala next year that would be 80,000 square feet, but Buc-ee's recently clarified the store will actually be the same size as the location in Tennessee. So once again, Texas is number 1.
Beaver and Buc-ee's are now icons across the United States. They spread Texas hospitality, great barbecue, and beaver nuggets wherever they go.
And with that, the chain is set on keeping its home state of Texas the site of its largest store for the near future. And once again, like Don said, Texas just does it better.
We're number 1. We can't help it. All right, if you missed Storm Prep 2024, here are some other dates and times you can catch the show. On KAVU, Saturday, June 22nd at 12:30 p.m. KMOL, Sunday, June 23rd at 11:30 a.m. KVCT, Sunday, June 23rd at 12:30 p.m. and KXTS, Saturday, June 22nd at 11 a.m. And Mac on that show has a lot of great nuggets of information.
Cute. Coincidentally, I was at the Buc-ee's this morning. I'm waiting for them to put in a tram that'll take you around inside because from one end to the other, the bathroom is a long way, especially when you really need it. Anyway, folks, our atmosphere is very different today. You notice the good old-fashioned thunderclouds like we used to have back in the old days. High pressure has given us a little bit of a break for a couple of days. We do have some shower activity around the area. Some of you may have been lucky. 91 is our high temperature. Our high today was 93, which is right about where we're supposed to be. Next couple of days, we do have more showers possible. Doesn't look severe, just garden variety thunder showers. And then we'll take a look at the tropics, because that's getting interesting. All that coming up in just a moment. Well, good afternoon, everybody. You might have noticed that we've had a few showers around the area. Cuero had a real nice downpour there for a while. Right now, we've got clouds just around the crossroads. Now, what happened is that the dome, the heat dome, actually dropped over the last couple of, well, actually yesterday, dropped south of us, allowing area of low pressure to spin up, produce rain in North Texas. And you can see how most of the shower activity is above this line. So as long as that line is below us, we've had a chance at something. Other than that, when it comes back, we'll be back to the heat and the humidity. Now, let's take a closer look. Here we are in Victoria. There you see the shower that came through Cuero, then spread right down south toward probably the the creek, Coletto Creek. Coletto Creek. I'm thinking Choke Canyon is the other one. Coletto Creek, right about there near Victoria. Thank you for assisting you. I have people backing me over here, I want you to know. Anyway, so we do have a few little showers rolling around. These are not anything huge. They're just garden variety showers, and if you catch one, consider yourself lucky. It's the only way to cool down this time of year. Let's take a look at your temperatures. Yeah, well, 94, 95, and back to 97 by the time we get to the weekend. We should be an average of about 92, but because we have garden variety showers possible over the next day or so, you may be the lucky one that gets a little downpour. There you see the forecast highs for tomorrow, about 94 for us, 98 in San Antonio, and a little bit of a break in the inland areas because I mentioned the high pressure has actually dropped. All right, a couple of things going on in the tropics that we just want you to know about. First of all, this big yellow area is called the Central American Gyre, and it's basically a whole spinning thing like this that goes round and round and produces a lot of the instability out there. You see it right there. Well, right about here, the models are predicting that something's going to develop. So it's kind of like this. Whether or not it develops into a storm, which would be very close, it is going to be bringing a whole bunch of tropical moisture northbound into the Gulf of Mexico. So we're going to watch it very carefully. At anything right about now, Louisiana to Florida looks like it's going to have a downpours early next week. So it's about 5-7 days from now. Meanwhile, we keep watching the tropics because you can see the water temperatures are ripe and ready to go. 87 degrees in the central buoy right there, and 87 down south and 86 in the Caribbean. So the water is ripe and ready to go. It's just a matter of time before something pops. We're looking generally sunny and partly cloudy in the afternoons and maybe 1 or 2 isolated showers, but probably not along the immediate coastline. It'll be inland areas more likely. There you see the high temperatures in Cuero should get you up to about 93. So it'll still be warm. It'll still be humid. But for tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, we do have a slight chance of something popping, kind of like today. And then it decreases by Thursday as high pressure builds up again and gives us a fairly warm weekend. It's in this time period here that we'll see what is moving in the tropics. If you have interests in any of that, well, join us right here every afternoon. We will be talking about it. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now here's Zach Brown with your sports.
Boston protected its home court, and now that series flips over to Dallas, where the Mavs desperately need to protect theirs. I'll have that in sports. Last night, the Mavs trying to even the series up at a game apiece. And, well, at the end of the first quarter, Dallas did have a lead. And through one half of play, it was just a three-point ball game. And while the Celtics did outplay Dallas, it was the little things that doomed Dallas when it mattered most. Costly turnovers saw Dallas give up 21 points off of those alone. Boston, for example, just 12 points conceded off of turnovers. And while the Mavs actually shot 3 percentage points higher than the Celtics, Dallas shot 16 of 24 from the free throw line. Boston shot 19 of 20, and those little things added up to a narrow Boston Game 2 win. Mavs cannot fall 3-0 home court begins this week.
We're not down. We're positive. This is a group that believes. We didn't get an opportunity to get a split or win 2 here on the road. So now Boston held serve. Now we got to go home and hold serve.
UConn head coach Dan Hurley was offered 6 years and $70 million from the Los Angeles Lakers to become their next head coach. He turned it down. Hurley is highly sought after, leading UConn to back-to-back national titles and trying to three-peat next year. After rejecting the 6-year, $70 million offer from the Lakers, it's being said that UConn has a 6-year, $50 million offer on the table, and he hasn't accepted that one yet either. Houston has been up and mostly down all year, but are still within striking distance in the West. Last night, trying to sweep the Los Angeles Angels in the 6th inning. Well, this 2-run shot to dead center from Altuve was the capper to to a 4 spot and a 7-4 lead. But in the 8th inning, the Angels claw themselves back to a tie at 7 apiece. Blown game again from Ryan Presley. And in the bottom of the 9th, LA has a bid to walk it off. Trey Cabbage had it in his glove, and it comes out. Angels walk off on the Astros 9-7. So here's an updated look at the standings. We're just under 70 games into the year. Seattle currently leads the West with a record of 37-30. The Texas Rangers in second place sit 5 games back of the M's with a losing record of 31-34, and 1.5 game back of the Rangers, excuse me, are the Astros, who are 30-36. No one has run away with the West just yet. The door's still very much open for those top 3. Huge series this week, and after the Rangers' 3-game set against the Dodgers, the Rangers will travel to Seattle for about as important a midseason series as you can have. That is it for your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Zach. We're back in a moment where we head to Africa, where research shows elephants actually have names for each other. This story and one last look at your weather next.
Finally tonight, a new study suggests that wild African elephants may use calls similar to the personal names humans use to address each other. The study, published Monday in the journal Nature, Ecology and Evolution. Researchers used a machine learning model to analyze recordings of hundreds of elephant calls. They found the sound of the calls varied depending on which elephant the call was targeting. The animals responded more strongly to calls that were directed at them, and they also responded to calls that weren't collect. I'm wondering what names they would call each other. You know, Babar, Dumbo.
Babar, dude, I remember that.
Flappy ears.
But if the elephants called their friends' names, they probably would know for a long time. Elephants' memory, you know, they have a really good. Yeah, there you go.
They remember. They remember.
But we probably didn't call them Ivory. That probably wouldn't.
Oh no, that would be sensitive.
No, too sensitive. Yeah.
Hey, folks, we've got a chance for a shower or two tonight, even, but it's decreasing. These are little garden variety showers, nothing severe. Tomorrow we have a good chance of getting a couple more in the afternoon and also on Wednesday. Then after that, we get back to the hot and steamy stuff. We'll be watching the tropics. We got about 7 days that computer models now are beginning to tell us something's moving. So we'll be certainly giving you here the latest every time, every afternoon.
Thank you, Mac, and thanks for joining us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.